Okay, it's Papa Jack again. Now we're going to talk about artificial intelligence. Let me start by saying this is a really high-level review. I would strongly encourage anybody, actually everybody, who's in high school or in college or graduated from high school and not in college but working away. I don't care what you're doing. To go to YouTube. There are hundreds of channels that talk about AI. I have 4 or 5 that I went to, that I still go to. But I don't think you can learn enough about AI because it'll give you ideas as to how that's going to affect what you do. And it'll go into much more detail. So I'm going to provide just a high-level overview of what AI is and strongly encourage you to take the next steps. I wouldn't even call this AI for dummies. It's probably even a little less than that because I'm the one doing it. But regardless of that, let's dive in. Artificial intelligence, this is the best definition I could find. It's the silent way you can read it. But I like the one in red better. It's when a computer application, is built to think and learn like people. So it can solve problems, make decisions, and even get better over time. It can learn from it. We'll talk about that, but let's go see what that means. Let's put it in a picture. But before we do that, let's give 2 examples. The simplest example is what many of us think the world of AI is, or the world of Google Ads. I go on TikTok, and I love or Instagram, and I love the dog videos. We have 3 golden retrievers, and they're the joy of our lives. But the other dog videos are great. They're so creative. Well, old TikTok and Instagram go, Jack likes dog videos. So let's scour the databases that we have, and let's find those that are humorous dog ones, not sad dog ones. Let's find those that are touching dog ones and send those to him. That's AI helping with fun and personalizing my experiences. I find it amazing that when I go and buy a pair of golf shoes online, I immediately start getting inundated with golf shoe ads. Again, that's AI at its simplest form, doing recognition, searching, and making decisions and sending me information. A much more complex AI engine is what happens with the car. If you haven't ridden in a Waymo or a Tesla, it's amazing to me what it can do. With all of its sensors, it can see the road, can recognize patterns, street signs, make the same split-second decision, sometimes even faster than I would, knows when to stop, turn, accelerate, decelerate, go above the speed limit, not go above the speed limit, all designed to get you where you got to go and keep you safe. Imagine the amount of data that it's accessing, where it's getting that data from. There are 3 types of categories of AI. Weak or narrow AI, that's what we use today. It really specializes at one task or a series of tasks that are sequential. General AI or artificial general intelligence sometimes goes by other names, but we'll stick with this one for now. That's the next phase. Some people say it's 5, 10 years out. It can do many different tasks like a human, and it learns across domains. The best way I can think about that is, remember now, AI, we'll talk about it in the next slide, but it's really trying to act like a human brain. So in the sense of narrow AI, I would go up to my golf shot in my brain and I go, I've got 140 yards. I'm going to hit an 8-iron. I don't hit an 8-iron very far. There's the green. I'm going to aim here. I'm going to hit it there. But now think about what happens in your mind, what really goes on. Somebody is playing a rock and roll song in the background, and it's bringing memories to me, and I want to remember to send a text to my daughter to say happy birthday. And the same time I'm thinking that, I'm thinking about my golf shot. And I'm thinking, it's the wind's in my face, the pin's in the back of the green, the greens are soft, it's a little colder out than normal, so the ball's not going to go as far. Well, do I hit a hard 8-iron? Do I hit a soft 7-iron? Do I try to hit it with a draw? Do I try to hit it with a fade? Do I just try to hit the damn thing? Am I trying to hit it low? Am I trying to hit it high? Do I have to carry a bunker? All of those information points are going in and being considered at one time, which is sort of a narrow. But now think about at the same time, gee, I want to send a text to my daughter because I'm hearing music over there. Wait, I hear a siren in the background. I wonder if that's a fire. Should I text my wife and see everything's okay? What general AI would do is go at the same time, process information from all of those domains simultaneously and take various actions in the sequential order that your mind might think of them. We're not quite there yet. We're not quite there with the judgment part. When I say we, the people that are doing this neural network programming. And the last part is superintelligence. We'll talk a little bit about that. And it's unclear whether that will ever get here. It's actually not human-like skill, but beyond that. We'll spend a little bit of time talking about it. For right now, let's focus on narrow or weak AI. It's not weak, it's just narrow AI. It gets the data, it puts it in algorithms. Traditionally, somebody would go, okay, what's 3 times 5? And you would program a computer, say 3 times 5 equals 15. Well, in today's world, it doesn't quite work that way with AI. It goes through a whole variety of different ways of looking at that, calculates different ways, and then creates a probability for what that answer is going to be. Sometime, go ask your ChatGPT. I want to know who you think is going to win the Super Bowl. And then ask it, and by the way, when you're doing your analysis, give me the highest percentage odds that your answer is right, then the next one and the next one. Because what AI does differently and how it programs is it works on modeling many things simultaneously and coming up with a probability based on patterns. That's why sometimes AI can't be trusted. Sometimes it's just wrong, which is why you always have to challenge it. But that's what the predictions part means. So in its simplest form, here's what AI is. And it's that middle box and the last one down there, the AI agent, that become the most, well, that's where the guts of it are. We spent a lot of time talking about how does the data get there, whether it's structured or unstructured, whether it's private or public. Think of it in those terms. So that creates the input layer. The input layer says, I've got to go get this data. I'm going to go search whatever that data set is that I'm allowed to go search, and I've got to go get that data. Another good example, by the way, this is a little bit off the subject, not off the subject, but an example. I was watching a baseball game last night, and I wondered how the Seattle Mariners were doing. And I wondered how Cal Raleigh was doing since he led the league in home runs. So I said, can you create the box score for both games combined and give me that? I said, no, can't do it. Major League Baseball has the copyright for the box scores. They send them to the newspapers. The newspaper pay for the rights. I'm not allowed to access that data. Now, I could go and try to recreate the data from different news articles, from every news article that was written about the 2 games, and try to reassemble what the box scores were, but I don't have access to that data because it's copyrighted. So the input layer defines and goes and looks at what it's able to go get and what it's not. So it's got rules it has to operate by. But once that input data then gets there, so let's use that baseball as an example. It goes and collects all the different articles from anybody that wrote about anything on those 2 games. That then creates the data set that's put into the compilation layer. And it's that hidden layer that is doing all the simultaneous calculations. And it's doing it in such a fashion that says, well, by everything I'm looking at, there's a 95% chance that Cal Raleigh hit a home run. There's a 5% chance that I've got the data wrong and he didn't hit a home run, but I'm going to publish the 95%. That becomes the output layer. So the output layer then, it depends what you see on ChatGPT or any language learning model that you're talking to or interfacing with, it's that output layer is dependent on the questions and how you ask it. So can you give me with the highest confidence how Cal Raleigh did in the last 2 games? It might give you one answer. Can you just say, hey, how did Cal Raleigh do? Might give you a different answer. Which goes to, it'll give you the answer, and it'll search out the data, and it'll do its calculations. We could spend a whole seminar on just how that hidden layer works and how that neural network acts like a human brain in terms of its processing data and coming up with a probability. It's not a traditional 3 times 5 equals 15. So the models that are being built with the languages that they're using today are specifically designed to, how do I best go get input? Where do I get that input from? What do I do with that data? How do I calculate it? In what format do I present it? And then how do I present the answers? And the result of that then becomes an AI agent. It's the AI agent that actually does things with it. Take this data and put it into a PowerPoint presentation. Take this data and send an email to all of my customers. Take this data and create a schedule from it and communicate with the customers what their appointed times are. Take this data and do A, B, C, D with it. That's what AI does, is it focuses on the quality of the input and the rules that it has to get the input, simultaneously looks at all the different variations of that and calculates what the highest percentage is of the right answer. Based on how you ask the question, provide you that answer, and then whatever you've told the agent to do with that output, it does it. What's scary about that is, what if the data is wrong? What if the output is wrong? And the layer and the agent takes action. That's why human intervention isn't a lost art. AI and its solutions may not replace people, but it might make the tasks that they have to do a lot faster so they can do more of them in the same amount of time. But it's how that understanding how where does it get its data from, the input layer? How does it manipulate that data to calculate what the percentage right answer is in the second level? And then the output layer, based on how you ask the question, gives you something that another agent, is going to take action on. So if you tell it to set your house to 73 degrees and the input data comes back and says, well, here it is, and for whatever reason in the calculations it says, yeah, I'm 50% sure it's already at 73, and you get home and it's at 80, because somewhere along the line in that compilation it made an error. AI isn't to the point yet where it can say, yeah, gee, before I do this, I'm going to go check myself. Let me validate it with a different set of data. Let me calculate it this way. Let me bounce it against this idea. Let me verify with some sort of check and balance that it's the right output, and then take action. It's not quite there yet. I had an extra slide in there, sorry. General AI, this is the best example. You're in the car, the AI agent is driving your car, and you say, while you're driving it, can you create an essay on the theory of relativity? And by the way, while you're doing that, can you go and look at my blood work and tell me how I'm doing? Do I have diabetes? And how does that compare to anybody else my age? And do you think I'm overweight? Yes. And when is the next doctor visit, by the way? Oh, and while we're at that, can you create a weekly physical, and it's doing all of it at the same time, simultaneously, one agent, one concierge, for lack of a better term. And the difference is, it's see that where it says input data? This model is going to different input models, different domains, different input domains, and making judgments about what to do and how to do it at the same time. We're not quite there yet, and especially when it comes to applying the judgment. People say we're 5 to 10 years away from that. Personally, I think it's going to happen faster than that. Let me give an example of something that I think is coming pretty quickly, and it gets into definitions of what's narrow and versus general. It's really not important what the definition is. It's what the capability of the agent is. Imagine you're in a business and you got an HR system, a supply system, a sales system, and a finance system. And all of them have their agents that do their own things. But let's focus on sales for a second. The AI agent in Salesforce.com says, tell me how many potential clients are out there. How many potential clients do I think I can contact in the next week with an email campaign? How many can I respond to? Let me set up appointments. Can you help me set up appointments? Can you send them an email? Let me know how many appointments are set up, how long it'll take to get there. Can I do it via Zoom? Can I do it via physical? And all of these things are taking place. And at the same time that's going on, an HR system is looking at, gee, do I need more salespeople or not? In order to do that, the HR system has to somehow talk to the sales system. So imagine up above there's a general contractor layer. And that general contractor layer is saying, okay, I need to decide what next year's budget's going to be. How many salespeople do I think we're going to need? I need information from the HR system. I need information from the sales system. And I need to be able to have those two systems give me data simultaneously, real-time data, and be able to then take that data, make assumptions, give it back to the agents in those two respective systems and say, does that make sense? And those two systems be able to look at it and say, well, I think you need to think about this. I think you need to think about that. It's the same interaction you and I would have as people. We're going to be at that level of systems pretty soon within a company. That's really where the challenge of AI is going to come to, meeting the fruition of all the things that businesses wanted to go do. How soon we get to general AI is up for grabs, I guess. But the part about AI that's, to me, the most exciting are, I'm going to go back a couple slides, are the different layers and what you can do with it. There's such a need for creative young people to understand how these agents are going to affect what they can go do. In the near future, in a few slides, we're going to talk about the need for people who are getting an accounting degree to understand AI agents. And for people who don't want to go to college, how do I become a salesperson for anybody, for any company in the world? And how can I use AI to become an independent contractor? If I'm waiting tables today, if I'm working as an electrician, if I'm working at Lowe's, how can I take and learn about AI and create a new career path for myself? That's really what this is all about. Helping you understand what AI does at a high level, how it works, and how you can end up creating a career path for yourself.